I want to take a slightly off topic today because I sit on the Intelligence Committee, and I'll never forget looking at the thousands of Facebook ads and Twitter posts that the Russians had purchased in order to attack our democracy. Those posts, as you know, played on the painful and often explosive divisions in our society, race and gender and religion. I'll never forget in particular a post that was in Spanish that urged people, presumably Latino people, to vote on their cell phones. And I wonder how many actually did. I read your recent speech at Georgetown a couple of times, actually, on freedom of expression, and I really celebrate your commitment to freedom of expression. But if you don't mind my saying, it also came across as one-sided. It spoke about Martin Luther King and civil rights and the importance of Black Lives Matter having a voice. But it didn't say anything about Indian Muslims killed because somebody used a Facebook post to organize a mob, or Rohingyas dying in Myanmar because the authorities used a post to organize a mob. And my point is obviously that what your Georgetown speech missed, in my opinion, is that like all of our rights, freedom of expression is really hard. At least it's really hard if it means anything. It means that the government will defend the rights of Nazis to march through a Jewish neighborhood in Illinois. It means we'll spend our taxpayer dollars to defend the right of a black football player to take a knee during the national anthem. It'll defend the right of an American to burn the American flag with all of the passions and anger and emotion that that would generate. So back in 1788, we didn't just naively say freedom of expression is a good thing. We put in place and committed the resources and invested in those things that would make us worthy to live in a context of freedom of expression. We established regulation through a democratic and transparent process. We spent a lot of resources to regulate commercial speech, and most importantly, we invested trillions over the years in educating Americans so that when they see something that they hate, instead of picking up a gun or a knife, they actually formulate a rebuttal. The town I live in invests about half of its tax revenue in education. So my question is really simple. Facebook, and I'm a customer, today is more like a country, in my opinion, than like a company. You have global reach. Apparently half of Americans get their news from Facebook. So my question is really simple. Given the investment that we made in establishing the context for freedom of expression, what commitment will you make? What investment will Facebook make? You have almost $50 billion in cash on your books. Tell us what investment you're making so that this freedom of expression which you enable is a good thing rather than a bad thing, so that the good side of freedom of expression overwhelms the Rohingyas and the Indian Muslims and all that can be bad coming out of freedom of expression.
Congressman, thank you for the opportunity to address this. I talked about a number of these risks in the speech that you referenced, but at a high level, I think you're right. When you serve billions of people, even if only a very small percent of them use our services to do harm, that can still be a lot of harm. And we certainly have a big responsibility to make sure that we address all of the new threats that come from the internet, and as well as existing threats that have been there all along. So this is something that, in terms of our resources and what we're doing, since 2016, we've built much more sophisticated AI systems to proactively identify harmful content. Now, 99% of the terrorist content that we take down, our AI systems identify and remove before anyone sees it. Right? That's the kind of thing that we want to be doing for all of the categories of harmful content.
But let me stop you there, because I got that. I get that, and that's important. But what I'm really looking for is, what is the parallel commitment that Facebook will make with its $500 billion of market cap and $50 billion in cash? What investment will you make in education, in good public discourse, in basic decency? I'm looking for a commitment.
I see.
For what you will do to help make this society worthy of free expression.
So I think it's two things. One is on the safety side, it's a major investment in proactively eliminating harm. And then on the proactive side, we're going to be investing a lot more in partnerships with high-quality journalists and publications to foster that kind of content. But as I mentioned earlier, we now have more than 35,000 people at the company who work on safety and security. We spend billions of dollars a year on it. It's a very significant portion of our budget and expenses. We spend more money now on safety and security in a year than the whole revenue of our company was at the time that we went public just earlier this decade. So a lot of the things that we're doing now simply just would not have been possible even 6 or 7 years ago for us to do. And but now we're a big company. I feel like we have a responsibility to do this, and you have my commitment.
My time has expired. I think you have a responsibility to do more than police. I think you have a responsibility to actually invest. But thank you, and my time has expired.
The gentleman from Arkansas, Mr. Hill, is recognized for 5